Well then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a look at the update news, and we've got a big one for you today, and we're going to be looking at everything that you need to know. We've got lots of special events coming. We're able to pick up a lot of premium tanks for free within the next month, and we're also going to have a look at the update details in depth and give my opinion as well as trying to get your opinion on all of the changes that Wargaming are making this week. So, I think we'll jump straight into it. We'll look at the special events. Now, there was a recent technical issue with the game. So, the Monsters Hunter event, basically, the one where you can jump into the game mode and you have things like the Revenant, Craft Panther, you've got things like the Creature with their all special abilities, so the Halloween event game mode. They've extended the period at which you'll be able to play it by an entire week. So, instead of it being the 2nd of November being the time that it would have ended, so today, instead it's actually going for another week. So we'll have it until the 9th of November, which is nice. It basically still has the 2x Commander XP, so make sure you grind it out if you're interested in getting Commander XP and getting that monster drop challenge. Now, not only that, I do really want to promote the Extra Life charity stream that is going on this weekend from the 6th to the 7th of November. It's a 25-hour live stream, so if you're available at any point during that whole 25 hours, just pop in and kind of give your support in any way, that shape or form. Obviously, you can donate in order to go straight to the charity. All proceeds go to the children hospitals via the Children's Miracle Network, so it's really, really good. It's a good cause, and hopefully we can generate, I think their goal is $5,000 US, so hopefully they can get that, and I will try and promote it on that day via my YouTube. Now, other than that, more for the actual gameplay and the game sales that you will be seeing this week, we have, of course, the special Black November Week 1 deals. So this is often one of the best kind of times to purchase a lot of your premium time and also some premium tanks if you're interested. But let's have a look at what you can actually receive within this first week. So obviously here we go, the Cold Steel tanks and more have been re-released into the game, which means that yes, you can purchase them for a hefty price, don't get me wrong. You will have some decent savings though, and I suppose if you haven't actually picked up any of the tanks, then I guess it's a great time for you to do so. Now, the Cold Steel tanks, basically their kind of attribute is that they earn like an extra amount of crew XP. So instead of the usual crew XP of having like 100% on a premium tank, some don't have any bonuses to the XP rate. These have 175%. So say if you're playing in this tank, whenever you play it and you earn, say, 1000 free XP or crew XP even, at the end of the battle, you will actually end up with 1750 crew XP at the end of the battle using this premium tank. Obviously, then you can add on your premium account time, which gives an extra 50%, and it stacks up depending on if you use your crew XP boosts as well. So they're all kind of joined into one, and it can be a really good way of actually training up your crew if you are interested in using tanks like this. Of course, it really does depend on whether you want to spend that 20,510 gold to be able to purchase them. The tanks themselves are very interesting. You've got, of course, the British medium style Swedish tank destroyer. Yes, it is a Swedish, but British style, because obviously it looks very much like the Centurion, the Centurion 1, and also things like the Centurion 7 1. It's kind of like a mixture of both. I think it may even be like pretty much the same as the Centurion 5/1, the RAAC. This one has a pretty meaty gun, however, and you've actually got 390 alpha with the standard rounds and 480 with its premium Hesh rounds, which are fantastic with 210 penetration. So it's actually a pretty hard-hitting tank. It's basically like a Draugen gun, but you have got that hull of the Centurion there. Now, as far as the other one, Eradicated Carnarvon, it's the auto-loading version. I've got this on my account already. It's a pretty, it's an interesting one. I've 3-marked it. It has 3 shots in its clip with 280 damage per shot, 720 total, which means that you can dish out 720 damage all in one go, and it's pretty fast firing as well. The intraclip reload is a little long for 280 damage, but yeah, 5.4 seconds to unload fully and to reload 21 seconds, so the DPM of the tank is a little bit poor, but then again, you are playing in an autoloader, so I guess effective DPM is something we have to talk about. Still a fantastic tank and a great crew trainer at that. Now, not only that, of course, it comes with a Demolisher T28. It's an auto-loading T28 with the same sort of gun, the 280 alpha damage, I get thinking, or 320 even, so a total of 960 alpha with this T28, basically a changed version with an autoloader. It's an interesting one, certainly not an overpowered tank, but it can certainly be used very well with some players. Of course, all of those tanks are in the separate bundle, so you'll be able to pick them up individually. Which one would I recommend the most? I think that for those of you who probably want to just try out a tank and be fairly competitive, not be super broken, but also not be super trash, the Earthshaker is probably the one for you. I think in terms of a bit more of a novel build, the Demolisher is interesting for tank destroyer players, and of course the Carnarvon is somewhat competitive, but not super overpowered. Then of course we have the multi-tank bundles this week, which are filled with a load of different tanks, and these are all at 50% off. We've got the Heavy Cavalry, which comes with a 50 TP prototype, which is meh, and the Barracuda Emil 51, which is a pretty decent tank. It's like a auto-loading, it's basically like a Kranvang at tier 8. It's a pretty decent one. It's probably better than the Emil at that tier as well on the tech tree line. Of course, it wouldn't be like Wargaming to introduce a premium tank that's just better than the tech tree counterpart, would it now? As far as the extra ones, we have the T32A prototype, basically an auto-loading T32, and then of course it would cost you 16,910 gold. I don't think you'll be getting pretty decent heavies, I'm not going to lie, but there are certainly better deals out there that I've seen with more competitive tanks that will do better within the games. It's just dependent on whether you like the look of any of these in particular as to whether it sways your opinion and makes it worth it. Now, of course, Wargaming's typical logic with World of Tanks is, of course, jump on, have the medium gunners tank bundle, and then whack a load of overpowered tanks in there. We've got the Draugen Lance and C, the Tier 1 LPC, both fantastic tanks. The Draugen is one of the best Tier 8 medium tanks / tank destroyers / light tanks / heavy. It's basically an all-rounder. It's just absolutely fantastic tank. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't got one and you have both of the others, then you'll get the tank for 50% off, assuming that you have got that gold value in the first place. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic version of the Lance and C. Of course, it isn't the same tank, so don't go buying the Lance and C thinking that it's the Draugen, because they are not the same tank. Now, as far as the other things that come with this week, we have the month-long sale. So these are the most important things, at least from my personal opinion, as to what comes out during these Black Friday sales. Now, the premium time is what I'm talking about. So 50% off 360 days of premium account time, bringing it down to about 12,500 off the top of my head, which is about £4, £3.50 per month, about $5 maybe, something around there. I'm not entirely sure the conversion, but it would probably be around that sort of mark. This is the best time and best investment you can make if you do think about playing the game for a long period of time. I would avoid purchasing any 7, 3 and 1 days because they are just pretty overpriced in the first place, and I would probably avoid purchasing 30 days at a time. It's kind of just, to be honest, if you do want to purchase them, I'd go with a 50% of 360 days, or if you are a sporadic player that's only probably going to play one dedicated month, then maybe just go with the 30 days. But, Think about it. Are you going to be playing for the entire year? If not, then definitely don't purchase it, because if you're not playing for half the time, then you haven't really saved any money at all. So there we go. That's the bundles and sales for this week. Let's move on to some of the more interesting stuff with regards to the gameplay and the content that you can actually jump on today. Now, of course, we've still got all of the boring stuff, being the commanders that you can purchase for a ridiculous amount of gold. We also have one of the more interesting things this week, the new tank, the M50 Ontos. It's a Cold War tank, so before you click away, let me just tell you about what this thing can do in the game. It looks very, very, very interesting because it has these 6 tubes of 105mm cannons that can basically fire 6 shots in a clip and has 390 damage per clip. Yes, that's right. That has a total damage, I believe, in the region of about 1700, somewhere in that kind of region. Looks like it's going to be a pretty decent tank. I think the overall clip potential is in the region of about 2,300 alpha damage in one kind of clip, which could be pretty darn good. It has a fantastic silver bonus earn, which means that you will be earning an absolute boatload of credits, considering it's also in the Cold War escalation era where you do make just a crazy amount of silver, and you could probably be used to seeing silver earns per game of around 300 to 400,000 silver, which only goes up if you use the boost for the silver, which I would recommend only really using silver boosts in Cold War with a premium tank, because they just make just an absolute boat ton of credits, and you won't get that in the World War II mode, no matter how good of a game you get. If you have a good game or a pretty better than average game in the Cold War mode, you just earn just a ton, and I mean a ton. Now, as far as how the tank plays, well, it is, well, quote by Wargaming, a concealment, mobility, and kind of hidden tank. So you want to play it very stealthily, and you can see that the tank looks like a pretty stealthy boy. It's fairly small by the looks of it. It has these 6 auto-loading cannons. They do all fire from one cannon, so unfortunately they don't actually fire all in one kind of like in a row from different cannons, which is a little bit disappointing. Would have liked to see that within the game, a bit of cosmetic, but you know, it works the same. It's still going to hit them for 390 damage. The way that I would play this tank, obviously whack on all of your concealment bonuses because you want to be staying in some of the bushes and dumping your clip onto unsuspecting people that you can see crossing fields and stuff like that, and that's where this tank is going to be fantastic. Now, as far as actually purchasing the tank, it is a very expensive one, 15,300 if you want to purchase it on day of release with all of the bonuses, or 13,570 with just a few bonuses. The one I would go for on day of release is, of course, the M50 Ontos fully loaded bundle, which comes with just the boosters and the 30 days of premium. If you go with the top one, you're basically paying 2,000 gold for 1.5 million silver, which in my personal, well, not even 1.5 million silver, 1.1 million silver roughly, and you're paying 2,000 gold for that nearly, well, 1,770 to be precise, I believe. Not worth it, in my opinion, to pay that much just for the advanced concealment, advanced zoom, and advanced optics on a tank, especially if you don't actually want to kit it out like that, because that's not necessarily something I would want to kit it out with. So bear in mind that. Buy this one if you do want to take my advice. As far as waiting, if you want to wait 2 weeks to save yourself 2,100 gold, you can do that, and you'll be able to purchase just the tank on its own without any of the boosts, which obviously bump up the price of this bundle. Now, that's not the only thing this week. I know it's going to be a long one this week, but we do have some pretty darn good, interesting things coming. So, the daily play challenge is back in black, or at least that's what Wargaming are coining it. You can now get the Jagdpanzer 8.8 Black Edition. So this is a very new kind of tank. I don't believe that there was a black Jagdpanzer 88. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm almost certain that it wasn't. And the American Tier 8 T-34 Black Edition, which is definitely a tank back in the day. I'm not entirely sure if it is actually or was within the game, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But then again, let me know in the comment section down below if I am wrong with that. Now, how can you actually complete this and potentially get one of these tanks? Well, you have to play every single day, as the daily play name suggests. You have to penetrate one shot, and it's available to World War II and Cold War, resets daily. And the rewards are as follows. You get one of the following. So it is a random reward drop, which is really unfortunate that, you can't guarantee yourself one of these tanks. But then again, it is free, so you can't complain too much. But yeah, a little bit disappointed, at least for me anyway. It runs from the 2nd of November to the 30th, so you have 28 days to be able to actually get potentially any of these tanks. Of course, you could get both of them in the first 2, or you could get none of them in the whole 28. Of course, maybe you'll get a key card, maybe you get a premium tank out of that. And if you want to check out what key cards are actually like right now, I did do a video looking at the opening $100 worth of key cards, and yeah, I guess that maybe I wasn't quids in with that kind of opening. As far as these tanks, of course, I think they'll be pretty average. The 88, or the Jagdpanzer 88, is pretty weak within the game. It has fast fire DPM, but that's pretty mediocre. And yes, of course, it is new there. T-34 Black Edition, definitely a fairly solid tank now. It's got a lot of buffs, and I think that will be an interesting one. As far as other content, of course, for those of you who don't know, you can earn a tank guaranteed, so this isn't reliant on RNG, which is usual with wargaming. You'll be able to actually unlock the IS-6, the Minotaur, or the Demolisher T-28, so you get to pick one of the following from the list. You have to basically deal an assist in 1,000 damage. It's the November challenge, so you got the whole of the month to be able to do this. And you have to basically deal an assist in 1,000 total damage 300 times. So you have to essentially play 300 games where you deal 1,000 assist or actual damage, or combined. So it's not particularly that difficult. It's just very, very time consuming and relies upon you just literally spamming out 300 games within the month. So, I think that's pretty difficult for the most part. Would have been nice to see some sort of event that actually made you hopefully do stuff that is particular, like challenges, rather than just having these mundane operations. But then again, that's just my opinion. Now, as far as moving forward, we have the Dia de los Muertos, which is, of course, just an event where you can get a couple of emblems. You basically just have to win and survive one battle. You can do it twice per day for the duration of the event, which is 1 week. So potentially 14 emblems over the course of that period. You can also get some extra rewards. And then you've got November Challenge, which is, of course, what we just mentioned. We've got the weekly sales. You can also pick up a fairly meaty discount on a few different tanks, which is, of course, the deals of the week. So you can get 50% off the Vindicator, Charioteer, and the AMX 1357. The better of the two is probably definitely the Vindicator, Charioteer. The AMX 1357 is a very, very niche tank that I would probably only recommend to more veteran players of the game that understand light tanks a little bit more, because yes, it does have like a 10-shot autoloader, but it is a pea shooter and it really is pretty slow. It can't turn very well, and although Wargaming say it has amazing speed, it really doesn't. It is very much like a boat. It's like a traditional French light tank, but without the actual turning ability. So don't go thinking that this is going to be super, super fast and overpowered and you can dump 10 shots into one opponent, but it is fairly okay if you play it right. As far as the super savings, or the personal offers, whatever you want to call them, we've got the Panzer IV small term, we've got the French Tier 8 AMX M4 MLE 49, and we have the Chinese Tier 8 112 heavy tank. So if you want to pick up any of those, they'll be 50% off the base cost. I don't know exactly what the prices of all of these are, but the best one probably in there is probably the AMX M4 MLE 49 for those of you who are wanting to spend some money. Of course, we do still have all of the seasons going on. There'll be another season's challenges that you'll be able to complete this week. And there is, of course, that stream that I would like to just highlight once again, being the charity stream on this weekend between the 6th and the 7th of November here, between 1 o'clock UTC and 2 o'clock UTC in the afternoon, that is. So there we go. That is pretty much all of the news, other than the very last thing being the clan event that is currently going on, and that is the global map war of clans going on right now. So if you are interested in joining up and earning some gold and resources for your clan, you can basically go and participate in the war of clans. You basically, clan commander has to log in on this website here. Go to the Wargaming website on just on the Google or whatever search browser you use, type in World of Tanks console, global map, and then it should come up. You click on this site here and then you log in. It's definitely safe, I've done it. And then you basically go in and you can pick some variety of different places to put your tanks, and then you log in on the day that you've chosen with your marker, and then you can basically complete it that way. So there we go. The clan event is also live, so for those of you interested in clans, then you will be able to take part as long as your clan commander has chosen to mark up your token on the right kind of space. So there we go. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Of course, let me know what you think about all of these updates, the free tanks, the new black Jagdpanzer 88. We've also got loads of new tanks and obviously the M50 Ontos. What do you think? If you want to check out any of the season tanks, or if you want to check out that key card opening that we had the other day, then I will leave those on screen right now, and I hope you'll join me in one of those videos. Goodbye.